took. See my kicks when I see y'all walk. Flex on me, y'all ain't strong. Say my name, that's him. Look, still on top, yeah, it's been that long. They won't know till I say I'm gone. They won't know, say my name. Hey everyone, welcome to the That Sam Law Show. Today, I have a guest that, I don't think I'd be Sam Law exactly without this guest. His name is Kaeson Skrilla. He's from Brooklyn, New York. He is a legend in the hip hop game. I feel like, what's a legend that keeps moving? Like, I don't know, like a meteorite, which is also my favorite, like, extraterrestrial thing. He's like a meteorite in the hip-hop game. He's going through the universe. We don't know when he's going to hit, but when he hits, it's going to cause it's going to shake the atmosphere. And I'm just proud to have him here. I wouldn't be who I am today without him. I wouldn't have a lot of the things that I have today without him.
Nah, you're determined.
Yeah, but
determined
still.
to get what you wanted, man. You always had determination and focus, so direction was easy.
I think I want to tell how I met you. I think normally I like the guests say who they are, but I'm going to steal this one for a second. So, I was invited to do a podcast in West Babylon, New York, for Mixed Bully or something like that. And the podcast was called the Dower Hour Show. And I had went to see it, and they heard me talking to somebody about something. They were like, can you come back and just be on our show? I was like, sure. And they played this rapper, and he had a voice like mine. It was raspy. I was like, yo, who is that? Who has that voice? I want to hear more of that voice. And I was like, man, like, who is that? So they played him again. The next time, there was another artist on, and I knew that artist, and I was like, yo, who's that voice? What do you think about that song? They were like, yo, I know that voice personally. I said, word? So then we're shooting the show. All of a sudden, I hear that voice talking in the background. I said, yo, that's that voice again. I turn around, and it's Kaeson Skrilla. And he was like, I was like, yo, I really like your voice. I like what you're rapping about. I don't know what you're talking about because it's not my life, but I like what you're saying, you know? Like, I know it's important. I like it. It hits my ears right. And he was like, this girl's weird. But he's like, you want to hang out in the studio? And I was like, sure, can I come? He was like, yeah, come on. And then ever since then, he's been one of my greatest inspirations, one of my dearest friends. Young Hip Professionals, Inc., the charity that I founded would not be here without him. Sam Law Show would definitely not be here without him because the production person is how I know him because of him. And listen, he's just a legend, like a real influence in the hip hop industry that not many
making me
people
blush.
know in the
Like, I don't want to blush. Like,
yeah,
you're making me blush.
It's okay.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about yourself real quick? No, I don't want you to. I'm gonna just ask you mad questions.
I like your shoes.
Thank you. These are my favorite shoes to wear when I'm trying to be sexy but comfortable.
No, those are nice.
Thank you. I like your shoes. I wish we could.
These?
Yes. Oh, you gonna take them off us?
These?
Hey, the GOAT.
The greatest of all time?
Yes, yes. I like those. You got the GOAT over here. You are the GOAT.
I'm the greatest of all time for myself.
Hey.
You know, I feel like if I'm better than I was yesterday, then I'm the greatest of all time.
That's a fact. Ooh.
So.
If I'm better than I was yesterday, I'm the greatest of all time. Y'all better hold on to that. Put it in your pocket and keep it there in case you need to pull it out again.
I just, there's GOATs. There's LL Cool J. There's Michael Jordan. There's Mike Tyson. And I pay homage to all of them. My first GOAT, this GOAT, actually, is I'm paying homage to Jam Master Jay, who was my mentor. He was the greatest of all time as far as DJs are concerned. So I'm paying homage to all the greats while being a great myself. Because I didn't have a merchandise or clothing company last year. Or well, actually, we were born out of the pandemic, so 2020. So I didn't have one in 2019. So at that time when this formed, the greatest of all time.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Law of the That Sam Law Show, and I just want to welcome a very special person, our sponsor, John Bell of the Bell Law Group. John Bell, tell us about the Bell Law Group.
So we're a law firm in Syosset, Long Island, and we focus on employment law and personal injury law. The reason we focus on that is basically to fight for people in need. That's the reason why I became a lawyer, and that has been the mission of the Bell Law Group since I started it 20 years ago. Started out as a law office of Jonathan Bell, but then when it became more than just me, we decided to change the name, change the logo and branding to the Bell Law Group, and we've been out there ever since.
Great. So John Bell, if anyone needs your services, how can they reach you?
855 John Bell, Jonbell, or on our website, belllg.com.
Thank you. Talk about it. So before we get into Jam Master Jay and your mentorship, I just want to talk about you growing up in Brooklyn, New York. What was that like?
The greatest place on earth. I'm glad to have experienced Brooklyn for the first 20 years of my life. Like it prepared me for life. Like I've been around the world actually with music, and 80% of the time, if I said where Brooklyn at, there was somebody from Brooklyn there.
Always.
So, you know, I come from a single parent household. I have a very strong willed mother that she did what she had to do to make everything right. Like, you know, from my understanding, the projects are just that, a project, to see how long you'll stay there, or if you'll take this low rent and stack your money and move on in life. I was fortunate enough to have a mother that did that. So we stayed in the projects for a short time, then we moved to the private buildings with the doormans and the balconies, and then we moved out to Long Island. So the progression I got to see firsthand. And a strong black woman with no help, wasn't men in and out, nothing. My mom just locked in and stayed focused, and I'm blessed to have her.
Oh, your mom, she's gorgeous. So,
Shout to my mom.
yes. How did your community influence your dreams?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, in the old Brooklyn. I grew up in, my heroes were the guards, the 5%ers in front of my building. Those are my heroes, the guys that, like, it's weird how certain things stick. Like, I remember being enamored by the dude that just came home and his body was right. And he was on the corner doing pull-ups on the light. Like, I wanted to be like that. So in wanting to be like that, you want to go to jail too.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Like, I grew up, like, my Brooklyn, I'm from Bed-Stuy. I'm from Roosevelt Projects. My family been on Gates and Tompkins for about 60 years. My dad was painting on the wall on Tompkins Avenue with a saxophone, my dad was actually a child prodigy, and I believe it might have been Count Basie that was tutoring my dad. Like, so I come from they were all drug dealers, millionaire drug dealers. Like in the Brooklyn I grew up in, all the older guys from North Carolina, they had different ways where they saved their money. So my cousin Leroy had a big trunk, and it was full to the top with money. My Uncle Red had a king-size bed, and in between his bed and his mattress, it was covered with money, about this big, about this high. I used to go into his bed and snatch money, and my mom would spank me, but she would keep the bread.
Smart woman.
I didn't catch on to that for years. Like, wow, she beat me up, but she didn't get that money back.
You're a smart queen.
Yeah. But yeah, my Brooklyn was different, and I was attracted to the big names in the neighborhood, and most of them were stick-up kids. Like from Brooklyn, I come from a stick-up culture. Like, we don't steal. We're not thieves. That's dishonorable. I'm taking it, and you gonna shut up. So that's the Brooklyn I grew up in, and that's what I aspired to be, which led me to some very trying times.
So in pre-production, you were talking to my mom, and you said something to my mom that was like, oh my, and she was like, oh my God, you're a living miracle. So my mom's is literally here with us in the studio.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom. I wouldn't be here without her. Literally, she birthed me. That's just we talk about moms, for real. One of the things you talked about was like this experience you had. I don't know if it was when you were younger or, in your early adulthood, but you talk about surviving, literally almost being your whole life taken from you, shot multiple times.
Well, I was a week past my 17th birthday, and I got shot 6 times. I got shot in my face, the back of my head, my stomach, my elbow, my back, and my foot. Then a year later, I got shot in my leg.
I hate 17, y'all.
I mean, I just attribute that to what I just mentioned, like what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. Like Brooklyn was different. My Brooklyn was different. Like, we would get up in the morning and meet at Broadway Junction every day. And anybody in the 90s, late 80s know about Broadway Junction from Brooklyn. If you came through there with a polo goose, we was taking it. If you came through there with some jewelry on, we was taking it. Anything we wanted, people would go to Manhattan to go around Broadway Junction, not to come through us. We'd go to Manhattan, and we'd walk around Manhattan, and we'd look at people's pockets. So back then, you could see the print of money in their pocket, downtown Manhattan. So we would go to Midtown, we called it Mid, and we would dig pockets. Well, allegedly. Let me say that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, some pockets were dug. And like, just imagine being 14 years old and walking up behind somebody, pushing their elbow, sticking your hand in and running and getting away with $10,000, with $8,000, with $5,000. Sometimes you caught token purses, allegedly. And sometimes, it was the bonus. I lived in a home where I couldn't bring none of that home. So everybody that was with me,
they got all this.
they get fresh. I'll take them to go shopping. We go get fresh, and I'm giving people jewelry. Like, all I could have was jewelry. So, and my man Black J, who he was like, I call him the Junction General. He was like, we don't rob people for jewelry. Like, there was other ways to get jewelry. So, my Brooklyn was different, and what led to me being shot up. Like, I was somewhat of a tyrant. I was taking a lot of things. I didn't believe in drug dealing. My family was drug dealers. My pops didn't mess with me, so I really hated him. So I was robbing drug dealers. I would rob drug dealers' workers and give them back to work and keep the money. Tell them, go get you some tougher workers. Like, my Brooklyn was different. My Brooklyn was way different. And, things happen.
All right, so obviously your upbringing always has an influence on what you put out. Like, whether it's like you going to school, you going to, sometimes our upbringing has an influence on what we put out, and we might do total oppositely. Say, allegedly, you robbed drug dealers, allegedly. And
Allegedly.
because your dad, your family came from that, so he was like, I'm not about that. So,
I would take it.
right, you did the opposite. So when you think about that in your upbringing and your influence on music, now if I was somebody and I never heard no hip hop ever, like I just been listening to classical, I heard jazz, I heard pop, you know, how would you describe hip hop to someone who never even heard of it?
Well, hip hop is street reporting. So you get everything in hip hop from the current events to relationships to economics to politics. You get everything in hip hop. There's a lot of things you might not have heard about in the news, or it might not have come across your phone, but you'll hear a record and they'll speak on it. Like that's what what I've grown to know hip hop to be, street reporting. So everybody twerking? Okay, let's make a twerk record. So now look, twerk, 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 twerk. So everybody's twerking now. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's what we do.
You bringing awareness to everybody who don't know nothing.
I mean, I would think that would have explained it. I'm not,
I like that actually. So back when we started the conversation, you talked about one of your mentors, and you talked about Jam Master Jay. Rest in peace. And I know he was one of your mentors in the hip hop industry. Like, what was your first impression of him?
Jam Master Jay, like Jam Master Jay, like Jam Master Jay represented the streets in one of the biggest hip hop groups of all time. Jam Master Jay changed the fashion in hip hop single-handedly.
Fair.
Like Run D and Uncle Russ would all say that when Run DMC formed, Russell was like, y'all just like him.
Yo, his style was fuego.
Jay and I connected more than anything because Jay's from Brooklyn. Like a lot of people don't know that, but Jam Master Jay's from Brooklyn. I made a record called Brooklyn and he screamed on me, and I remember his exact words. My name is synonymous with Hollis, but I'm from Brooklyn. So I was like, oh, all right, I changed the record to put his name in it. But yeah.
So, having such a critical member of the hip hop community as a mentor, how important do you find mentorship to be for an artist?
Oh, I absolutely find it to be detrimental because I remember a couple of years ago, I ran out and I opened a barbershop, and it was after Jay's passing, and I ran into issues at the barbershop, and it was mostly issues that I created myself. And when I looked for some type of direction, someone to help me out to say something, he was the only person I had. So when I lost him and I went through that, I decided that I would be there for people. Like I basically grew up in the studio. Like I'd be in Jay's studio. Like instead of being outside hustling or getting in trouble, I would go to Jay's studio and things would happen outside, and I would be like, wow, he saved me. So I do the same thing. I've had a studio out here. Next year will be 10 years, which is how I met your producer.
Me?
You, and a host of other people.
Yeah.
That's how, because I think mentorship is important.
You definitely had, man, I'm about to tear up. You definitely kept me safe in the studio. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what type of foolishness I would have got into if I didn't have you around.
It was just like that for Jay's studio. Like, I would be thinking of what to do and be like, man, I'm gonna just go to the studio. And most of the time we didn't record nothing. We was playing video games.
I've definitely done that with you.
Yeah. Like, but it's just a safe place. It's a safe zone. Like, I'm here, I'm in the studio. If someone calls you and wants to take you away from there, I'm in the studio.
Right.
So it's like I can't, because the idea is if you're in the studio, you're
You're
working.
working, right?
Me and Jay on the couch like this, screaming at each
That's
other.
a whole fact. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know what? It's weird dating a rapper now. Like, I know they probably need to get away from me at times. And they'll be like, I'm going to the studio. I'm like, fine. Or I'll be like, I'm going to the studio.
See, you got lucky. You got lucky because you was also a part of the same studio.
Yeah,
So most people don't get that.
that's a fact. So talking about my generation and, having me and my boyfriend, underneath you, like, you're our mentor. What do you like about this generation of rappers and what do you dislike? Hey everyone, it's your girl Sam Law of the That Sam Law Show, and I want to introduce you to our season 2 sponsor, Nadine Morency Moss of J. Realty. Nadine, tell my audience about yourself.
Hi, my name is Nadine Morency Moss. I'm a real estate broker, founder of g.o.a.t Realty since 2012, and I service Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, and now Suffolk. And sometimes the city. And that's Nadine.
All right, if you want to get to know Nadine more, just follow her on Instagram or hit her up on her website.
I like their hustle. I like their hustle. I like their drive. Like it's amazing to me to see it. Like I in my personal career, I relied on my voice, my presentation, my music, my performance, when that's not what you rely on. So any artist listening, if you can take anything from my interview, understand that your talent is not gonna get you there.
Woo.
In most cases, what gets you there is drive, determination, and hustle. You gotta hustle.
Right.
I know I can name a plethora of artists that are nowhere near could touch me record for record, but in hustle they beat me. And what happened was they got with me and saw me with Jam Master Jay and everything I was doing and opening shows for Run DMC and moving around, and they were like, I gotta beat him. And they hustled me, and they out-hustled. They didn't hustle me, they out-hustled me. So hustle is the most important thing. You gotta get it. Like this was a conversation. And
Yo, it was with you in the studio. Sam, you gotta master the 1 minute interview. What is someone gonna say in 1 minute? So I sat there and I thought about it. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I thought about it. And then I got friends that were doing it. And then I watched them and I watched the other people and said, I grew up watching interviews. I grew up watching Oprah. I grew up watching, what's that lady's name I liked back in the day, Mom? The blonde lady that was on.
Jenny Jones?
I watched Jenny Jones. I watched Ricky Lake, but she was like on the news on the regular.
Sarah Jessica Raphael?
Not Diane Sawyer, but her. But there was an older lady. She's older now, and she was on The View at a point.
Rest in peace, Angela Lansbury.
Oh my gosh, my mom watched that. That's before my time. But you know what? Like, I grew up watching like some of the greatest. I see her face in my head, and I don't know her name. But I grew up watching some of the greatest interview women that were in media of all times. I had the benefit of watching these women, and you said that to me, and I was like, I don't care. No, it wasn't Diane Sawyer. We said her already. She's an older lady. I don't know. She was before Diane Sawyer, just a smidge before. And Barbara Walters, that's the one. I was obsessed with her. Like, she just had this big hair. And she always had a bad fit. She was tiny. And she was mean. She was like a pit bull. Like, she could get into you, or she could be really, like, understanding of you. And I was just like, yo, this lady's it. I want that. I want to be like her. And I remember saying to my mom, I want to be a reporter. And then I wanted to be a lawyer. But I guess now I'm a reporter. I did sort of both. But I think about that, like what we grew up watching and that hustle. And you saying that to me, and me be like, no. And then me being like, but that's in my roots somewhere.
Yeah, your generation is very savvy, tech savvy and otherwise
like
savvy.
Tech.
Like your generation, like it hasn't ever been anything like it. Like there's kids, there's 7-year-old kids that open toys for a living and
Oh, my son would
$7
love to
million
be
dollars
one
a
of them.
year.
Oh,
And
man.
they mail them all the new toys.
That's a fact.
And that's just their job. And that's from someone from your generation.
Creating one of
Kids.
them. Yeah, that's a
Because
fact.
the kid didn't think about it. So the parent thought about it and was like, yo, you know what? I'm going to videotape you opening these toys. And now that kid doesn't have to do anything ever in
Open
life
toys.
but invest. That's
Fact.
it. Because it's going to run out. Like, you can't be 18 opening
No,
toys.
that's a fact. That's a fact. Wait, but can you? I feel like we'll figure that out because we order, me and my family, we like order toys. Like we were just on a conversation for 12 hours yesterday about which dolls we ordered because they're going to be worth a crap ton of money.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that's your generation.
That's a fact.
That's your generation. That's the stuff that y'all do.
That's a fact.
That's
So
right. That's why y'all all around me.
that's a fact. You're taking what we have and
Yeah,
making us smarter,
yeah.
but you're also learning what we have and making
Figs.
it the greatest of all time.
Fair exchange is no robbery.
I like that. So I have a question. What are your top 5 rappers of all time? And one has to be female, just for the ladies out there. 'Cause
Queen
this is a
Latifah.
woman's show. Oh, hey, okay, keep going.
Immediately, Big Daddy King, Rakim,
That's 3.
Hove,
Hey.
Redman, and Ghostface.
He named 6. Listen, I ain't even mad at
Nas.
those.
Black
Nas.
Thought.
All right, he's still going. Listen,
It's still- I don't like
all
being-
the top.
I don't like being put in that box. I think they're all great.
They are. Now, you named some of the best ones alive. So, if they were shooting a movie about Kaeson Skrilla, who would play you and why?
Method Man.
I'm not mad at that. I would like to watch that movie. I'd be like, I hate Method Man.
Shout out to the
That's not
homie.
how I remember Kaeson, but I like it. I like it a lot.
Shout out to the homie.
Nah, he's a great actor. I can see that.
Peace to the gods.
the
Small peoples.
Hey, yes. All right. So we're gonna wrap up with this. What's next for you? What can we expect from you?
Well, relaunching whitelightTheLabel.com. Along with the relaunch, there'll be my novel. I wrote a novel, 60-chapter novel. It's called. I just forgot what my book
What
is
is
called.
this book called?
Decepts and Cons.
I like that.
Decepts and Cons. 60-chapter book along with an audio book. I have 4 music projects coming. I have one with Self-Service, one with Doza, the drum dealer, one with T.O. Huxtable, and one with Pillsbury.
That's my boy.
Pillsbury, and my single with Ali Caldwell.
That's fine.
Ali Caldwell from The Voice fame and from The Four fame. We teamed up and we have a single called Another You that I'll be releasing. That'll also be released with the relaunch of the site. Merchandise will be available on the site. We have varsity jackets and hoodies and t-shirts and, you know, a couple of things for the ladies, a couple of things for the gents.
Yes, don't forget us.
That's pretty much, I'm in promotion mode right now. So I'm taking this 4th quarter to promote. Most things will be rolling out top of the year. And, you know, just stay tuned.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to rocking some of your merch for the ladies. I might wear some of the man stuff too. Listen, I don't care as long as I look good in it. Thank you, Kay. Thank you for being a part of the show. You know, another one of those people that, hey, Sam Law wouldn't be Sam Law without you, and I appreciate you. I love you.
Love you more.
Listen, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the That Sam Law
Law
Show.
Show.
Hey.